Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine. We've got the iRig HD by IKMultimedia. We've got the Audio-Technica 2100 microphone here. We're going to talk about it next and compare the models. It's another showdown of microphones next on Geekazine. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers from Geekazine. Think magazine, put in a geek, you've got Geekazine. And we're over here at Geekazine, also at howtorecordpodcasts.com. And we have two microphones, and I just got this, the iRig HD in the mail a couple weeks ago, and it's a great microphone in itself. This is a dynamic microphone. This is a condenser microphone, and both of these are used in making music. Both of these can be used in doing podcasts. Both of these are on the cheaper end, and a lot of podcasters, they want, especially when they're starting out, they want to have a nice, good microphone that hooks up via USB to something like their iPad, so they can use the Boss Jock app or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through both of these microphones. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, and then, of course, this is raw. There's no post-editing done on this. What you hear is what you get, so you might even hear some noise from the computer since it's so close. We'll kind of scoot it away just a touch here. So here it goes. This is the comparison. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start by turning off this microphone right here, the iRig Mic HD. So now we are listening to the Audio-Technica 2100 exclusively. So I've turned this off because this has a volume dial. If you turn it all the way to 0, there is still some sound that comes out of it. On the other side, both of these microphones, I'm going to turn this really quick. Both of these microphones have a light. This is a solid blue light, as you can see. This one goes from blue to green, and I bet you, yeah, red if it clips. So I'm going to talk in this microphone just to show you that this microphone is off, and of course, it'll show you how close you really need to be to these microphones. So we'll go over here. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. The pickled peppers that Peter Piper picked are picked, and they picked the peppers that they've picked. So as you can hear, you probably can't hear it as well, but if I go over here, now you can hear me a lot better because this microphone is off. But I got too close to the microphone. You saw the red light happen on the iRig HD. Now, let's focus solely on the Audio-Technica 2100. This is a dynamic microphone. This has a cardioid polar pattern. It runs at about 50 hertz to 15,000 kilohertz. So basically, if you've got a deeper voice, you might hear a little bit more drop-off, like most microphones will do. If you've got a higher-pitched voice, where you sound a little bit like this, then the 15 kilohertz will really kick in and produce a good sound. So yeah, most people have that mid-range voice. So this is perfect for them. They can talk into it. There's no windscreens on here. There's no mic foams on here. Of course, we want to get as raw of a sound as possible. So you might hear some more plosives or S-ing sounds. So basically, if I get close to the microphone and go, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, you know what? You can hear that. And same thing if I go, Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Since I have a small gap in the front two teeth, you hear a little bit more S's from me, a little bit more like that. And that can really affect into any type of microphone. A windscreen will get you back, so you want to be about here. Think of it like taking a balloon and placing it on the microphone, pushing it in just a little bit so it kind of encompasses this whole dark gray area, the screen, and that's basically your talking area. And so if you get past that talking area, the more you get past it, of course, you can hear less and less of my voice. Get closer and you get a better signal out of that. Now, of course, if somebody was to crash a whole pile of dishes over there, you'll hear it through here, but it won't be as direct as if the microphone was pointed towards the crash, of course. So, like I said, a frequency response of 50 to 1500 hertz. It's a USB powered, 5 volts. The XLR is USB and XLR are not the same thing. So you can hook this up. It won't power itself if you hook it up to the XLR through a mixing board. So the headphone jack just won't work for this microphone if you have it hooked up to a mixing board rather than the USB. However, you can hook this up to a mixing board. you can hook this up to the USB at the same time. And then, of course, the headphone jack will be available for you. So I could record just my vocals on my MacBook and then hook it up to, I don't know, maybe hook it up to another computer via mixing board or maybe a PA system. So if we're doing a live podcast, we can have 2 of these microphones set up, 2 different USB jacks, hook it up through the MacBook to do the recording, hook it up into the mixer to send to a PA signal and send out to people so they can hear what's going on. That's basically it for this microphone. It's got the on-off switch, easy to turn on, easy to turn off. And like I said, a lot of podcasters like this microphone. The biggest thing was the price. It was around $35 at one time, and since then it's pretty much doubled in price because of its popularity. So it'll be about $70, $80 for this microphone. So if you're out looking for a microphone, check out the ATR2100 or Audio-Technica 2100. Other than that, just like a regular handheld mic. And I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to take it off the thing, and I'm going to talk like this. And the reason why I want to do this part is to make sure that you understand when you're holding it, there could be other things that happen, like, for instance, pass-through from if you're, like, tapping the microphone like that, moving it around like that, moving it back and forth. So, and, of course, you're never going to be in the same place. You want to be about this far away from the microphone when you talk. But, yeah, I just wanted to show you the extra sound here. And now I'm going to put this back on. It's going to make a little noise here, especially since the clip is a little bit tougher to put on. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the iRig by IKMultimedia, and we're going to test the same things here. So I'm going to turn on both microphones. So we're going to have a unity audio sound. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch off the ATR USB microphone. And just to make sure, yep, we're all good. So now if I talk over here, I have not flipped this switch. You should not be hearing directly from this microphone. And as I get closer to this microphone, you'll start to hear me a lot better. Before I started doing this, I set up the both microphones so they'd be about even on the levels. Now, with this with the iRig by IKMultimedia, on the other side is the volume knob, which I'll flip around here. The volume knob, it's not up. I'd say it's about 35 to 40% up, or I'd say about would be about 10 o'clock if you looked at it directly. I don't have it up all the way. It can definitely go up all the way and really capture a sound if you really need it to. So about 35 to 40% here is about is what this microphone does in its full capacity. This is a condenser mic as opposed to the dynamic mic right here, and it's using a cardioid pattern. Both of these are using cardioid patterns here. So you get that same type of polar pattern, like I said, with the balloon and everything like that. So the farther that I go back, you're going to hear a lot less of me. But it's going to be a little bit more of a range when it comes to this condenser microphone right here. USB digital microphone. Both of these are 16-bit. They don't have there are 24-bit microphones, but in this price range, you expect it to be about 16-bit here. Frequency range is a little bit better on this microphone. This goes 40 hertz to 18,000 hertz or 18 kilohertz with a -3 dB frequency, which means that it'll cut down 3 dB to try and control the room a little bit better. And so that helps on here. But of course, it clips, and it shows the clipping. Like I said, I'll turn this back. You'll see the clipping. If I go and you see the green light, if Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, red light, that means, hey, it's clipping. The only problem is you can't see it on this microphone. If you're looking directly at it, you don't see the lights. Over here, you could see a light, but it's just a blue light, and that's it. That's the problem I have. The two problems I have with this microphone is one is that light. Like I said, you can't see it. But the other one is that dial on the other side. I'm going to turn it back here. It's tough to turn, and it's hard to see the turn. So I'd have to actually go like this and then almost use two hands to try and turn that dial. But once you set it, it's usually a set it and forget it. But if you hold it in your hand, and I'm going to do that like I did with this other one. hold it in my hand, there is a possibility that your finger could tap on the dial and turn it up or turn it down more, and the next thing you know, nothing's coming out of this microphone and going from there. And of course, we'll tap on the side like you did on that one. I can actually hear a little bit more metal sound when I tap on this. That was a little bit more solid. So we'll go from there. I'm going to show you this really quick. At the end is a little screw cap, and once you unscrew it, I'll try and be careful not to unplug it. That's your micro USB connector right there. And basically what that does is you can hook up and I have the regular USB hookup here. If you're using a iPad, it's got a lightning connector, and they do have a 30-pin connector, which I don't know how well the 30-pin connector works, since my iPads have lightning connectors. I suppose I could hook up the iPad 1 to it to see what happens, but for the most part, most of you have lightning connectors and running, if you're doing any type of podcasting or podcasting to a computer, you use the USB microphone. It's not going to make much of a difference there because it's still pulling the 5 volts and it's still pushing out sound over there. The sensitivity, that's the biggest thing. It has a 40 dB adjustable range. So if it's louder, you can turn it down. If it's softer, you can turn it up and go from there. It doesn't have the XLR, so you can't do that double thing. It doesn't have a set of headphones or a headphone jack, so you can't hear yourself. But if you're hooking up to an iPhone to get like an interview, if you're doing a simple podcast, this is perfect. And if you're running a one-on-one podcast, hook up both microphones, and you can mix and match and go from there. Windscreen is built in. Once again, you'd probably want to put a foam or another piece of windscreen on there and go from there. You also get, with this microphone, you can also get this nice little microphone package holder, and then of course they give you a microphone clip from there, and I believe you get a microphone clip. You got a microphone clip and this small stand. I put the little gooseneck on this one, so this part of the stand comes with the ATR2100. So let's switch back to both of them and see what we're going to go back into a dual audio here. So let's do that. So now we are in a dual audio, and I could sit here and I could really adjust this. As you can hear, I'm going to try and turn it up a little bit. Now, and we'll watch for red light. You get a lot of red light if I turn that up, but I'm going to turn it back down just to give you a better idea of how that worked. We'll get it right about where it was before. So now both microphones working. We got the Audio-Technica 2100. We've got the IKMultimedia iRig HD here. Both of them work really well on your computer. Both of them work really well on your iPad, on your iOS device. Both of them, this one has a better chance to work on Android because of the fact you have the XLR, and if you get a adapter, you can actually hook it up through the headphone jack, so you could use it through the Android. But for the most part, neither of them will really work on Android too well. So anything else? I think that we've got the idea of both of these microphones, and you've got a better idea of how they're going to sound when you use them. This one's going to have a lot better range. This one is going to give you a little bit more functionality. This one will let you know if you're clipping through your microphone. And, so you go back and forth and see which one works for you. Do you have the Audio-Technica 2100? Do you have the iRig HD? Do you have the regular iRig? Check it out with the regular iRig and the iRig HD and see what type of sounds you get off of this, how much better or worse it works for you. That's it for me. Jeffrey Powers here. You can find me over at Geekazine. Think magazine, put in a geek. You got Geekazine. Thanks a lot for watching this throwdown, this comparison between the two microphones, and hopefully that'll help you understand what you need to do, what you're going to do for your podcasting needs, and what you're going to end up purchasing. Until next time, you guys geek out and take care.